All right, I'm back. The father-in-law woke up, so I went checking in on him, and we're back to it. So, where was I? Basically, don't back down if you don't have to. And, when you have nothing to gain, and you're in peril, and there's nothing stopping you from running past this boss in the first place, right? The boss I'm fighting in this particular moment, he's not a big boss. He's a minor boss. You fight this guy 1,000 times in this game, but early on he's considered a boss, and in Souls world, a boss becomes a normal enemy at some point. That's just kind of how it works. People think it's annoying. I think it's brilliant, but whatever. What do I know? I mean, Miyazaki made it that way. I'm hoping he knows what he's doing after all this time. Just like I hope they'll bring back Sekiro and Dark Souls instead of whatever the heck Elden Ring's supposed to be. So enough on that. In other words, I could die here, but it didn't really matter because I just thought it'd be cool to go over my thought process in doing this. So, even though I drew the boss over the corner, there's still people above him that might snipe me from the back row. That's fine. That's the perfect point. This is the point of no return, we'd say. It's either I turn around and run or I don't. So, see, watch. It's just this easy to run away, okay? You just turn around and you leave. The boss will fully reset. Pop you a pellet. Okay. Now let's go again. Right? I don't know if they can see me still, the guys back there, but I'm gonna take this fight to the corner. Okay. I don't even know what the fuck that was, but here we are. Perilous, have to jump. And I'm dead. Absolutely not worth it to push it there. Not worth it. Because it didn't work out. That's okay. That was the point. It was just kind of that's one of the easiest bosses you can fight in this game. And I had him at a good spot. And I was ready for that fight. But I think I had to really, really focus in on that 101. And instead I was trying to think about the point of this video and why I make it in the first place. So, apologies. That was a death unneeded on my part. In every sense of the word. Okay? So, let's go back and see exactly how we could do that again if we didn't want to die there. Of course, we can't recreate that scenario. I'm all the way back here, if you're familiar with the map. I just started this cycle. I'm just kind of running through it as fast as possible this time. So just to prove a point, I don't have to kill that boss. I don't have to touch this bonfire. I do none of this shit, okay? But the point of this playthrough is that by the time I get to the New Game Plus 7 part of this, I'd love to be able to break down like my thoughts on playing at max difficulty with the intention to both fight every single enemy, only enough enemies to clear the bosses safely, or only the bosses, because the problem is you can't avoid most of the bosses. But I will also be doing all optional bosses as well. So, like I said, I think the goal here is to break down this game to the best of my ability, just because I thought it would be cool. Like, I've never done this. The only thing that I know about this game is that most people are not interested in the minutia of this level of play. But perhaps, maybe like me, this will give you an opportunity to explore that idea, right? Because like the thing about Dark Souls that I like is that when you get into the later game cycles, the game does change, okay? And I can only explain that insofar as you're familiar with how Dark Souls works. But I'll give you a very basic example. So in Dark Souls, especially Dark Souls, the higher new game cycles, which I've only been to +3 or 4 on that, I think. But the higher new game cycles become a matter of, okay, you can no longer just click on the short sword put it up to plus 10 and all I want spam to death. Like, it just doesn't work that way anymore. The health pools become exponentially larger because you both have physical, elemental, health, everything increases. So by increasing any one of those factors, the fight gets harder, but by adding them together, the difficulty of killing the enemy multiplies. Okay? So all of that to say that if you don't know how to fight a boss correctly, you're going to make yourself extremely frustrated. So, you know, you have to really think about each particular boss. Like, what one weakness can you take advantage of, right? So you see how that was? I literally stopped paying attention to what I was doing and just, like, ran past that boss. Who fucking cares, right? Whatever. Stupid. Now, this is what you call an unkillable enemy in a game. I don't know if there's a term for it, but he's basically like a gimmick boss, I guess you could call it that, but like his design is even more simple. It just requires you to crouch in the grass. He might see you. And one thing you want to do with any snake, because now there are certain breakpoints for health, don't get me wrong, but I definitely don't know all of them. But I do think I can survive one hit from this guy. So how do I test that? Let's just try. Let's see if he'll even hit me. No, I'm not looking. I mean, I'm right here. If I wait, I think he can see me if I stand here. No? There's no way this big fucking snake can't see me, right? Come on, you dumb bitch. There's no way you can't smell this. Excuse my language, by the way. I'm just kind of annoyed because I thought this whole time if I landed here at the wrong time, he'd attack me. I guess I'm going to have to provoke him. Okay, well, I don't even know if I can get back over there to provoke him, so let's do this. Let's just go ahead and let him attack. Where the fuck am I? Oh. Okay. Does anyone notice something missing here? Excuse me? Okay. Oh, okay. Here's where he emerges. So he can catch me right here. Alright? Let's see how long it takes him to figure it out. Now I died for that. Okay? Now, I didn't have to die, but I just wanted to show you that he often can one-shot you, but depending on, I think this is probably the first new game cycle where you can't survive, no matter what. So, if you have max health, I think those guys, that the snakes don't kill you up to this point. Like I said about breakpoints, so you see vitality 20 down there. I don't know the ratio, but it only goes from 10 to 20. There's no further way to increase your vitality. So that's another thing about as the new game cycle increase, you become able to increase your power level past a certain cap. The game has hard caps and soft caps. Vitality on this game is very straightforward. It goes from 10 to 20. But regardless, the game's not really about how much vitality you have. It's about how well you can adapt. So, there we go. All I needed to do was kind of illustrate the point that, like, that boss is unkillable at this point. But, like, he's not that easy to deal with right now. You just have to stay out of his way. Okay? All there is to it. Oh. See if I can get down here safely. And if I can't, oh, I didn't crouch. Okay. Alright. So what I did there is I used one of the most powerful techniques I learned. I think it was Blue Lizard Jello showed me this. You know, if you think you might die and you want to test something, just put bite down on it, okay? You get a free resurrection node cleanse, okay? Because look at this. I love this item. False tooth loaded with a secret shinobi drug, blue in color, can be used repeatedly. Crush the blue nostrum between the back teeth to die as often as one pleases. Could be useful in certain situations. Surely a necessary reminder, but the first death is typically one's last. Brilliant, right? If you think about it. It's an infinite way to kill yourself, but it can be useful, right? Like just in that spot right there. I used it to test the limits of the snake. And by biting down and suffering the death that I was prepared for, I'm now more aware of how to deal with this guy. So now I just know I stand here and wait. He'll blink before I will, or he'll look away. I don't know. I don't care. Because now I can survive. And I'll show you another one, okay? Now, if you think, well, how could you survive, right? You have no resurrection. Well, let me show you. Okay, I said that Jizo statue. If I really was worried about it, right here, boom, you pop it. We have our resurrection node back. We died on purpose. I'm gonna run up here like, oh, see that? Did you see that? Now, if he had knocked me off there, meaning I died while falling, meaning in other words, and again, I have to be concerned now because I don't know if he can one-shot me. And I don't really want to use the Jizo statue, but you know what? Let's prove a point. I can if I need to. That is an incredibly hard statue to replace. Unfortunately, it is one per new game cycle. So, here we are. Just in case, right? If I really was scared, if I was really worried, which I'm not, you know? Because like I said, if I die, it doesn't really matter, right? Kind of here for the lulls of it. So I'm gonna run past this. Normally you're supposed to lay in the palanquin, right? Normally. Oh shit! Okay. A fatal error on my part. I jumped, I hit the grapple button, and then it just didn't come out in time. I pressed it just a fraction too late. My reflexes are kind of ass, but whatever. So, alright, let's do this one more time, and we'll pretend like I'm not trying to make a point. Stood here and looked at that guy like that. pussy. Well, yeah, that was nothing. I mean, I've done that enough times. If I take it slow, I know exactly how to avoid all danger. But like, whatever, right? So here we are at Gilbu, right? I've done this fight so many times, but this is one of my favorite bosses. But I kind of want to take a break, see how much space I took up, and if I'm gonna be able to like salvage something close to a video from this one day. So, hey, if there does happen, you know, if there's potentially someone listening to this in the future, because I don't know if I'll ever get this video put together, but you know, that's just kind of how I approach that. So, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and drop it in unedited, see what I can get YouTube to accept, because I've only posted a couple YouTube videos. Since when are there badgers here? You know what? More for another time. Alright. We'll see how this goes.